Hi everyone. Welcome to Baca's Arthuriana, Episode 5, Wace's Roman de Brut and Laîmon's Brut. These texts are particularly interesting because they are both full accounts of Arthurian legend written in the vernacular language. Wace's is in Old French and Laîmon's is in Early Middle English. They are both based on Geoffrey of Monmouth's History of the Kings of Britain. Today I'm going to talk about the vernacular a lot, so I'll start by discussing what that means. The vernacular is the language or dialect spoken by the ordinary people of a specific region or country. The language might be the same across a variety of regions, but the dialect might shift. That's the reason why, even across the United States, people have different words and ways of saying things, though the national language is still English. So what's important about these two texts being written in the vernacular? Latin was the language used by the powerful. It was the language used in legal documents, in official court proceedings, all the super important things. It was a language that prohibited normal people, and also women, from understanding it. So, because Geoffrey of Monmouth recorded his history in Latin, who was his intended audience? By nature of the language, it excluded regular people from consuming the text. Think about that. Not only are the powerful the ones writing history as they want it to be recorded, they are also the only ones able to read it. The rest of everyone had to depend on the oral tradition that trickled down from powerful circles. The use of the vernacular to start telling stories represents a huge shift in access. Women and normal folks could begin to use books to read from them. Now, Wace wrote in French and dedicated the Brut to Eleanor of Aquitaine, one of the coolest queens of all time. He presented it to her in 1155. She could definitely read and understand Latin, but her ladies probably largely could not. And this brings us to a brief discussion of reading in the Middle Ages. It was not a silent practice. People read aloud, even when they read alone. In the queen's rooms, someone would have been chosen to read aloud to the room at large. The practice of reading aloud to children is a leftover of this early way of reading. We now usually only read to people who cannot read, though in Wace's time, the cost of books meant that there was only one of them, so everyone shared the story by reading it together. As I mentioned in the last episode, due in large part to the Norman conquest, English was undergoing a transition. Laîmon wrote in Early Middle English. The excerpt that you read for today is translated into modern English. Notice, as you read the two excerpts together, the different styles of storytelling happening. Wace is good at creating an entertaining narrative, while Laîmon is excellent at describing the military history and focusing on Arthur's valor. Think about which style appeals to you more. Also, think about the fact that these two vastly different approaches came from the same base text, Geoffrey of Monmouth's history.